I know Kung Fu.
I know Kung Fu more.
I know Kung Fu.
My Kung Fu is a shining example of the kind of power a man can manifest within himself and project outward.
Your monkey style is no good here, see? Why don't you go back to the village?
Huh? I would destroy you now.
What are the greatest Kung Fu movies of all time?
Yes, absolutely. Martial arts movies, yeah, Kung Fu.
And is Steven Spielberg overrated? Don't answer yet. Has he lost it? Coming up next on Two Fat
Drunks with Kung Fu.
Kung Fu. So anyway,
Okay,
welcome
go ahead.
back.
Yeah, welcome back
We're
to the
gonna
show.
do Kung Fu. We're
Kung Fu
outside
movies.
because it's like 110 in our little ass
It's
studio.
beautiful.
And it's
Beautiful
fantastic.
out here. So why not?
Mid-July here in
it's
Michigan.
beautiful.
It's fantastic.
Well,
So
70s.
Kung Fu. I was actually thinking about Kung Fu movies too.
Give it up.
Before you brought up the subject, I think it's a good one. About the Rocky thing, I think boxing is a martial art. I do
Okay.
not think that Rocky is a martial art film. I think that's a bridge too far.
You think so? I mean,
Yeah,
if
it's
you
just-
looked up
I don't
martial
think
arts,
Rocky
in, like,
2,
the
Rocky 3,
Netflix
Rocky
queue,
4, I don't think any.
none of them what you would consider martial
No, I
arts
consider
films,
those
even
boxing
though they're
films.
principally about. Well, wait a minute. Then you just made a division. I mean,
Well-
is boxing films then its own genre? I mean, that would make Raging Bull a martial arts film, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Raging Bull is not a martial
Kinda,
art film.
or The
I mean,
Champ with John Boyd.
Yeah, none of those are martial arts films. No, they're
No, I understand.
Okay, so that's an interesting question. What does make a martial arts film? I think that in part you have to have at least some reference to either an Asian martial art or have an Asian star in your film. If that's
Yeah.
can I say Asian? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can say Asian in this case, and that's correct because I mean,
Non-Occidental.
ultimately, these films exist because of Asian martial arts. There's not like there hasn't been other martial arts in the world. I mean, think how long wrestling's been around, and yet the invention of wrestling did not precede the invention of wrestling films.
What's the Matthew Modine wrestling movie?
Vision Quest
Yeah, Vision Quest is not a martial art
with
film.
Linda Fiorentino's in that, and Ronnie Cox is his dad. And that
Dick Jones.
It was right around the time it launched Madonna's career because she had two big songs on that soundtrack.
Yeah, that was
But that is totally a wrestling film.
right. That's not martial arts. So yeah, I mean, I
Right.
think there has to be some connection to the Asian
To the-
martial arts,
Right.
And I think The Matrix clearly does.
I think it does too. Because what is the first thing he says? The first. Well, wait, hang on. In the film, the
I know
first thing
Kung
they show him is jujitsu, because he turns to Satan and goes, "Jujitsu. I'm going to learn jujitsu,"
Right, which is
which is
Japanese.
Japanese, and it's yeah.
And now, obviously,
now
Brazil
Brazilian,
has
right,
a
I mean,
huge.
sort of, a
but they only have that
advanced form
because
of
a Japanese master went to Brazil.
That's correct.
Befriended Hoist Gracie's dad. I don't know, Hickson or something
I'm
like
sorry, I
that.
can't remember, but yeah.
Horion,
Sorry.
something like that.
They've all got H's.
Anyway, I do think to try to not have the Oriental aspect of the martial arts in a film would be it doesn't
It's a little
necessarily
disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of. Would you say disrespectful? I mean,
not disrespectful.
have to
It
have the
just makes it
reference.
probably not a martial arts film.
yeah.
It just makes it something more like Every Which Way But Loose.
Well, nowadays they got the.
Every Which Way But Loose.
What
you-
about all the Chuck Norris films?
well, that's.
Aren't
But
they-
Chuck Norris is an Asian trained martial artist.
artist.
He's in
And he
Game
started
of Death.
in Bruce Lee films.
Yeah, I mean he is
the
an
70s.
American link to that tradition.
No.
He's
Right.
trained in all those old
what
school Ryus or
what
whatever
about,
you say. So yeah, Chuck Norris proves my
historically
example. I think.
Eastern martial arts, which they considered
Who?
What about it?
English horseback, knights.
Oh, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
That is considered a martial art.
Sure, but it's not a martial
has-
art film.
I think you
Anybody
really.
that's a knight riding a horse.
Well, here's.
Well, sure,
something that-
archery is a martial art. Technically.
So King Arthur.
I mean,
is a
capoeira,
that's a
kick.
martial
I mean,
arts
there's a.
film.
But
No,
I think
see,
in
but-
this case, though, you have to make a division there because in this particular case, the martial arts that everyone is imagining is just hand-to-hand combat. As soon as you involve weapons, I think it becomes a different thing. I mean, yeah, I know they still reference
There's
them
bow
as
and
martial arts.
arrows in some of that stuff.
And not that
ninja
there's
stuff.
not, but I mean, just traditionally, if you think about martial arts films, you're imagining a person's skill with hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, you're
Especially-
thinking about Bruce Lee. Thinking
Yeah,
about Chuck Norris.
exactly.
You're thinking
Shaw
about Sammo
Brothers
Hung.
flicks,
Yeah,
Shaolin movies, right? It's
thinking
all about their
about,
skill
I mean,
with their
Neo
hands.
and Morpheus. I
Then
mean, you
I-
are thinking about
if
characters
you
who
think
can
that way,
fight.
Then
Show me.
technically you would take a samurai and say he's not a martial artist because most of his skill set is
Well,
not barehanded.
But you say martial arts, I would say soldier.
Well, see,
You know what I'm saying? You see what the division
all right,
is?
so here's a good question.
Go ahead.
Is Shogun Assassin a martial arts film?
Wow, with that, I would have to say no.
It's almost no. Right.
Yeah.
It is. It's more of a war movie or a
Right, or just
superhero story almost.
Well, you can almost go swashbuckler in a way if it wasn't so graphic, because after all, it's about a lone swordsman and his adventures across.
But I think that it's a tough call on that. But it's not. I mean, really, you're talking about kung fu movies. You're talking
Yeah.
about dudes fighting.
very specifically,
And not in a ring usually, although kickboxer.
kickboxing with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Bloodsport. Bloodsport.
No, that was Blood. But yeah, actually, I think they're in both films.
What?
I think Jean-Claude Van Damme is in Kickboxer
Yeah, he is.
because he fights that the guy that based
Tong
Sagat
Ho.
on, or reverse
In
that.
kickboxer,
But
Yeah.
in most kung fu movies, it's not a tournament sequence. Although the best ones turn out to be tournament films.
It just gives you the perfect structure to have kung fu or martial arts be the focus of the film and have it make sense.
a lot of those Chinese kung fu movies that don't star Bruce Lee or Sammo, some of the bigger
Right.
names, the Bruce Lee, not Jet Li, but
Not Jet Li, but I know
all
what
the
you're talking
fake Bruce Lees. There's a zillion fake
Yeah.
Bruce Lee movies, and those guys are usually pretty good at kung fu. But usually those movies are kind of like almost gang movies. There's like
Yeah, it's always like
it's like half the neighborhood versus the other half of the neighborhood.
right, or somebody controls a town,
Or like
along
like a
those lines.
businessman
Right.
controls a town, and that type of thing. And that's not as good as the plot line from The Matrix, or Game of Death,
No,
or Enter
and
the
you-
Dragon.
You have to have a valid
all of those are
reason to
tournament
introduce-
movies.
right?
Bloodsport, I think, is it? Yeah, it's a tournament movie. for
That's the
sure.
tournament.
Kumite,
I'm saying
right?
it's the Kumite. Yep.
Those are
Frank Dukes.
amazing.
Right.
So samurai movies.
More like
They're
westerns
war
with
movies. Yeah,
swords.
they're
I mean,
Western war
westerns.
movies. Or, yeah, they're Eastern war movies.
Right.
So I do think that there have to. It is a fairly narrow genre, and then
Yeah, you could say
start
that. I
you start
mean,
deviating out of it.
And it's a different film. So
Like
you
it-
have to be like you're talking Enter the Dragon, which it's interesting if you look at the
Well, we'll get into the
periods.
best ones.
Well, but if you get into the periods, right? In the 70s, it was sort of an introduction to American audiences to get their appetite for martial arts films. But it was right in the 80s when they came up with ninjas.
Yeah.
Remember when? I mean, that just became the hot thing with Enter the Ninja from '81 with Sho Kosugi. Like that just happened to
Sho-
coincide.
Jim Cotta.
Right, it just happened to coincide with the
Gymnastic ninja
VHS
movies?
revolution.
Yeah.
So like you now
Well,
have
it's Showtime,
VCRs in
too.
your
It's
house,
Showtime
right?
and
And now you
HBO,
can
yeah.
watch. And then Enter the Ninja came out, and everybody's like, "Dude, what's a ninja?" And it was like this.
Well, all those
magical,
Chuck Norris,
mystical thing
Octagon,
of
Force of One.
oh my God, Force of One,
Force of One. There's a million of them, though. I mean, he
Code
was
of Silence.
Code of Silence.
Right, that was like more of a cop flick, though. It was cop martial arts.
all
That was
of
more
us,
like his
at least
TV
if
show.
you were a kid growing up in the 80s, you watched those movies. You watched all of those movies.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal is a 90s
90s phenomenon.
Right.
Yeah, early
We'll
90s.
we'll get into Seagal.
Did his first book come out in like 88? I want to say
American Ninja.
Above the Law was, no, I mean,
Michael Dudikoff.
Steven Seagal, I think
Dudikoff,
88
yeah.
was, Michael Dudikoff.
But we'll get into the stars.
Okay, all right.
But so it's a fairly narrow genre. It really is. And if you stray too far, even if you have what you would think would be elements of it, it's like,
it's not really a martial arts film.
Shogun Assassin is not,
Not really
a martial arts. It's
film.
just
No,
not.
you wouldn't.
And
you
that's
wouldn't say it in
the
same
closest
breath.
one that you could get to going.
Where it's
I
like,
don't know.
yeah, what is this?
But Matrix
What kind of
is
movie
because they do the tournament. Essentially, it is a tournament with them and robots. He voluntarily goes into the game, right? To defeat
That's true. Okay,
right?
well,
So-
I guess if you look at it that way, then yeah, you could say that. I mean, it's just, he's going after Morpheus trying to save him.
But it
so.
for sure is,
But he did have to face multiple.
they dress in gis. They fight in a Japanese or Chinese
Yeah,
dojo.
no, it's in there for sure. I mean,
There
it
is
permeates the film, and they
clearly,
teach him specifically martial arts.
And part of the reason why the Matrix goes and invents this wild ass thing is the same reason why Enter the Dragon spends so long in the first 20 minutes of that film
Introducing the characters.
It was setting up the idea of a tournament. Well, why doesn't Bruce Lee ask in Enter the Dragon, why doesn't someone just take a gun and end it? Well, okay.
And they cover that.
And he won't let any guns on the island, or
Yeah, bad experience with him, right?
absolutely forbidden. Like, there are no guns on that island, for real. You never
just
see a
told it.
gun
There's
in
no
Enter the
guns.
Dragon at all, and that's cool. Well, the Matrix has to do the same thing, even though, yeah, there's a bunch of guns, but why are you using kung fu at all
Yeah.
when you have guns? Well, we do kung fu so good that we can actually overcome guns.
You
And
can beat the guns.
and well, but we're not doing that through magic. It's because we're in
the Matrix.
We're in the
Control
Matrix.
reality around.
So they
Stop
you-
bullets midair.
You can't. The Kumite with Frank Dux and
Julianne Fries.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Okay, you can understand why there'd be no guns in this fairly sanctioned
Right.
tournament. Best of the best, same kind
Yeah,
of
with
thing.
Eric Roberts.
Yeah, so
Chris Penn, great flick.
because you have
no
to
guns.
explain, because the greatest martial artist in the world is a dead man against a dude with a rifle 20 feet away. I mean, you'll
Right.
never beat him.
No
So
way.
how do you?
How do you sensibly introduce it into something that's not otherwise fantasy? Because there has to be
Right.
a realistic reason for you to feature martial arts that is not magical.
Right, if you're
You know
not
what I
doing
mean?
some version of Crouching Tiger, Hidden,
Right, I'm not flying from roof to a hidden
Crouching
dragon
Hidden
flag, right.
Because there's a bunch of those type of Chinese martial arts films where there is an element of magic. They're
The
kind
supernatural
of,
is
they're kind
very,
of like a D&D.
Arthurian. Yeah, I mean they're very
know?
right.
Yeah, they're
Fantasy stories, man.
Yeah, they're medieval sort of tales from Japan and China, where they have these essentially mystical powers.
Fly from place to place.
Right, and it's like that
Cheap
rarely
control.
that rarely works on Western audiences. Every now and again, like Crouching Dragon, Hidden Tiger, Crouching.
Watching
Sure.
Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I mean, that was a big
You
hit,
sound right.
but it was a hit here, you know. And
Yeah, no,
right?
it's true. And-
Okay,
and-
that movie.
well, just the artistry of it.
Right, but they
the
also
effects, too,
buy
are
in
real.
wholehearted. No, there's magic, and we can dance on trees and shit. Okay,
Okay.
whereas a lot of those '70s kung fu movies from China kind of have a little bit of both. They're
Yeah, because there's some just things that
Like when
either
they bend
so
over perfectly
fantastic,
sta- I
right?
mean, they-
Avoid a sword, and do all
Yeah,
that.
they-
I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a bit, but
they
there's no way.
essentially
It's not
fight like
exactly
Neo and Morpheus can fight without having the
advantage
gimmick
the-
of
the
so-
matrix around them, right?
Whereas a movie like Enter the Dragon is
Right.
ultra fucking realistic. It only goes into the realm of supernatural just because Bruce Lee was so supernaturally talented.
Yeah, mystic. Yeah,
I mean, he
geez.
just an incredible athlete.
on real fast.
Just tell you what, those early Steven Seagal movies do a great job of explaining why a
Yeah.
cop should learn small circle jiu-jitsu.
Nah, they're pretty. Yeah, I mean, he was for a while. He was the real deal, and I don't know what happened to him, but
not old.
besides that, though, I mean, it just kind of turned weird for him. But I don't know. I mean,
lost
I
his
love
hair?
the guy. It was crazy. Like the first couple flicks of his were great.
But those first all the way up through Under Siege, even Under Siege 2.
Yeah, Under Siege, and then it just kind
In
of.
part though, because he's willing to use a gun. It's
Right.
not just the way that Neo and
Because
Morpheus
really,
use a
like,
gun.
what's that one?
And the
Alpha
way that
Justice
Bruce Lee
and,
seems to be willing to use a gun in Enter the Dragon. Well, just shoot him. It's like,
Guns.
Yeah, guns.
Why didn't somebody just walk up to him?
Right.
Right.
So that's part of it too. And yeah, and a lot of those Chinese movies from the 70s and early 80s,
Yeah.
they don't have guns at all. You know.
No, and it's a clear conscious choice, you know, and either it's the era they're doing it in, or there's just some contrivance to say, or they just simply don't do it. I mean, just simply willingly don't do it, and so you're accepting the fact. Well, everyone uses
So you
martial
do.
arts,
So you do need to. I mean, that's what kung fu movies have to do. They have to deal with the reality of firearms.
right.
It's one thing to disarm a man with a sword. It's completely another thing to disarm a man with a double-barrel shotgun.
You'll never get
It's
close
ju-
enough.
Yeah, it's just you're
Sorry.
not going to get close enough, or if you do, it's because of ninja skills, which is
Right, or just
kind of how that
Threw a smoke
subgenre.
bomb down. Was there?
Well, right, but
you know?
that's kind of how that subgenre deals with it. Is they sneak up on you before
Right.
you can do anything, and then they hit you with a dart or a Chinese star. But so they're basically.
Or you got dumbass gun skills.
right. You're just terrible. Like
Yeah.
you just can't hit.
Well,
him.
that's the thing, that these guys are incredibly good with ninja stars, butterfly knives, bows and arrows, and
Those
you
chain things.
and you
know,
suck with a gun. Okay, well that
you could
and
buy
that's
it.
a lot of those Chuck Norris movies
Like
are
you can blow
that.
guns and shit. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure in Octagon he's chased by ninjas throughout.
Yeah,
he
it's
actually
like-
becomes a ninja at some point.
with
in
And
it.
they
white,
just-
white suit, right?
Dude, they just built that big set and basically shot the whole movie
That was great.
on that big set. Yeah, it's like, wow, that's. I mean, just an excuse to have a film in one location. You've custom built it. Have fun, and you don't have to go anywhere else. It's unreal. I mean, that's really smart filmmaking.
One of the things, it's funny. Well, why don't they make more kung fu movies? I'll tell you, but why do you think?
Well, here's
If
why.
do you agree with that statement? 'Cause
I do agree with that statement.
there are
and
very
I
few big
wonder-
budget kung fu films.
because I wonder how in and out that genre goes. I mean, people
That's
have
part of it.
exposed so
sometimes
long.
it's
It's like, would you
more
have an
popular than
audience for that? I mean, if you think
But
about
you would
but
think
they
that-
have done some. Like, they've done, like, for example, that movie came out before, like, called Fighting, I think. And it seems like a lot of them now are about MMA. And about
Yeah,
young
they're
guys
all about
going into
MMA now,
Or
yeah.
they go, or a resurgence in boxing films. 'Cause, I mean, not that they're
Well, because
great,
boxing
they're
is
some of
becoming
them.
popular again.
About that at the
But
casino. Anyways,
the,
go
the
ahead.
reality is, and this kind of gets to my reason why they don't make more martial arts films or boxing films, is you need the studs. You got to have the athletes to do the movie. It's one of the things.
That's
Like
true.
our first film was an action movie, Deadeye, and there's some really good stunts in that. But we used up all our stunt guys for like 10 years on that. I mean,
Yeah.
fuck that. I'm not coming back and getting my ass whipped again.
Throwing around
You know, and our star moved back to Turkey. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's only so many guys who both can act at all
and have the physicality.
and have believable kung
the
fu. That's
physicality,
why
right.
John Wick, why Keanu Reeves is the only thing going
He's
right now.
Sick.
I mean, in terms
Sick,
of
dude.
Hollywood
I've seen
films,
his training
right? He
sequence.
is absolutely
Mother
sick.
of God, YouTube is John Wick 2 training sequence.
Okay, so, all
dude,
right.
I'm scared of that guy.
All right, so
Okay.
just before I forget, is John Wick a martial arts film?
Nope. John Wick is an action flick.
Okay.
I mean, that's a very clear
close.
definition
All
because
right.
you really can't make. And I feel you on it because you could go that route, but it's one component of it. Whereas guns seem to take up an awful lot.
Gung
of it,
Fu,
man.
though. I mean, I've
Gun Fu. I mean, we're
Yeah.
gun.
Glock Fu is
Glock
I
Fu.
call
Glock Fu, yeah. I say I don't know. I'm a little closer to being a martial arts film than you are because there
No,
is a
because-
lot of essentially ballet, which is what most martial arts films are, is choreographed. They're very close in that film.
But, okay, so
like, boom,
wait,
boom,
but wait,
boom, boom,
is-
boom. I mean, he's right on those guys when
is-
he's doing
well,
it. He's
is-
rolling over top of them.
Is
and everything.
Blade a martial arts film? I mean, think
Yeah,
think
it's-
about Blade, dude. I mean, come on. Blade is pretty martial arty. I
all
mean,
martial arts.
he plays the mystic pretty solid.
There's
I know
more-
there's a supernatural component of
There's
it.
more kung fu in Blade than there is in something like Shogun Assassin. There is.
Yeah, there is
I mean,
more. No,
there's
as
a lot.
in any, because
And
Shogun Assassin
everything he
features
does,
no
he-
kung fu.
He's always moving his hands.
And
with
kung fu
speed
generically.
techniques
And it deals with the guns this way. You can't kill him because he's a vampire. I mean, that's how it deals with guns. You
That
have
makes
to have
sense.
some sort of
Some sort of reason that- why would you do that?
So I don't.
All right, but go ahead. Sorry, we're not
So if you have a Bruce Lee in his prime, if you have a Steven Seagal in his prime, if you have a Chuck Norris in his prime, you can make these kung fu movies.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Van Damme in his prime.
Yep.
But the reality is those cats don't grow on trees. And not every generation is going to produce a guy. Well, no generation since Bruce Lee's has produced another Bruce Lee.
Right, with
The
that
total-
kind of charisma. That can
not
do
just that,
He
he's
just-
a total package. Beautiful man,
Yep.
insanely great actor. The absolute real
the
deal,
skills,
the
dude, all
realest
of
of the
them.
real
Yeah.
deal skills. The charisma. He actually founds
He
his own.
invented a martial art.
He
for
invents
Christ's
a
sake.
martial art.
He
right. He's-
invents a martial.
he
That's pretty
culturally
goddamn good.
is. I mean, he's like
Icon,
Muhammad
dude.
Ali.
He's-
Yeah, he's
he's
like
the Elvis
right
of
under-
martial arts, dude.
Right. So there hasn't. He is the absolute king. So
Yep.
because you only get a Bruce Lee once every 50 years, maybe.
According to prophecy.
You know what it means? You can't. And think about all the people who've tried to step into Bruce Lee's. Sammo Hung. You have Jackie Chan. Bruce Lee.
Who are all
Jet
great.
Li. Yeah, they're all
But-
great, but none of
No,
them.
dude.
No,
He fucking had an aura, dude. I mean, that's just iconic. Those other guys are great. It's never a knock on him
And
at
that
all.
might
But
be-
dude, he's just. I mean, just,
And
I don't
maybe
know.
that is Hollywood.
You think it's the fog of history doing that, though?
Well, no, I think
I
it's
mean, or do you
Hollywood
think
saying
it's-
we don't have Bruce Lee. If they had a 35-year-old Bruce Lee alive right now, they'd be making them falling out of. They'd be dropping out of the
Yeah.
trees to do it.
No,
Just
it's true.
you got to have the firepower.
Because you got to believe it.
Okay,
You you got to believe it.
is there
man.
any kung fu stars now, young, like say 45 or younger?
Scott Adkins.
Scott
Atkins?
He's
From the
incredible.
Blue Lagoon?
Is he?
No, from
Oh, wrong Atkins.
From Undisputed.
Yuri Boyka
Hi.
in the Undisputed Films.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Is this
man
MMA
is
type?
Incredible.
So you-
He is the.
But they see what I'm saying? Super technical skills, but you.
Well, he's been.
You know, he
he's
just-
also in what's it called? The Expendables.
Right.
He was in the Expendables.
But you could go like think
He
about.
was in a movie called Ninja.
He was
Think
in
about a
movie
guy
called
like-
Ninja.
oh, maybe I have seen.
Think
it.
about a guy like Jeff Speakman, though. Remember Jeff Speakman?
The Perfect
Weapon.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, and that guy was just—he was kind of close, but just didn't quite have it.
that
man.
guy,
He couldn't
that guy
sustain
who
it.
was in the. There's I think he's from Taiwan. The guy, big guy, where he goes up the level, he just kicks everyone's ass for like a 5-minute, 10-minute long.
That's outstanding.
Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa, he might.
No, yeah,
he's
you know
the
what?
only real
Tony
claim.
Jaa, jeez, you got me on that one. I
Yeah.
forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But you
kick
know what
ass, dude.
happened? He decided to become a monk for a
Yeah,
couple years.
What,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, he went.
That
he
is a
went
great
crazy,
story.
Yeah.
He came back and he was in
But-
the last 2.
No, wait a minute.
Fast
You
and
used the
Furious
word
Oh,
crazy.
is he?
movies. Yeah.
Yep.
I'd
didn't
say
know
he's
that.
cleansed.
I had no idea.
He quit his last movie because they wouldn't give him more money because he didn't like it because it wasn't good enough. So he
Right.
said, you know what? I'm gonna go into the woods, into the jungle, and I quit.
Yeah, on
Just
Bach
like
2 or
Leonardo
something,
DiCaprio.
something like that. He
right.
something went bad.
That's what he did.
But
Or Shia LaBeouf.
But for a guy who has his own style, incredible. You believe he can.
So
See, that's part of it. You have
fast.
got to believe that the
Yeah.
guy can kick
Sometimes
your
you can't
ass.
you just don't buy it.
And like Matrix, it kind of overwhelms. Well, the same.
I mean, you
Keanu
don't
is
mind
actually
the
pretty
fact
damn
that
good.
yeah, well, Keanu's great, and you even let
And you believe
even let
Fishburne,
Larry Fishburne.
You believe he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not obviously as good as Keanu Reeves, but not so you notice in the film.
Yeah.
I mean, effects are one thing, but
But-
you do got to move around. and I'm
But
pretty
it's
sure
all
he
in
was
the
doing that,
context
but-
of this hologram, so it's.
So you have to believe. Yeah, it gives
So
you.
that's
that
a big part. You
suspense.
got to have the leading guy. You've got to have the guy who can
Right.
who has it all, because he's not just doing the action scenes. He's doing. That's why they don't make that many boxing movies.
Yeah,
You know,
because you
if
gotta. You can't have a movie that's nothing but boxing. It's a boxing match.
they've been
So you gotta
trying
have
to
a story
remake
around it.
Rocky, Stallone's whole career, and they really. All of Hollywood has like Karate
just
Kid. I mean,
hard to
best
come
of
up with,
best. I mean,
yeah.
there's very few.
That you can
Of those-
mention, and most people know what you mean.
Yeah, especially if you start taking out. Oh, no, take out Bruce Lee, take out Stallone, take out. Well, then I mean, you got the Jeff Speakmans of the world. You got, you got people who are pretty good at
Olivier
most of
Gruner.
the things. Like pretty good. Chuck Norris, pretty good actor.
You know what I was
pretty
talking
good
about,
kung
Of course, yeah.
Nice.
Oliver Gruner.
Yeah.
fu. Oliver Gruner.
No, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying. I thought it was
One of my
Olivier.
favorite movies ever, Automatic.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Oliver Gruner is in Automatic.
So that's who I.
Fucking Dolph Lundgren, dude.
Dolph's.
Yeah, Dolph started out with that because, well, I mean, first time you saw him was in
He was like-
Rocky IV,
He was a European
Right.
heavyweight kickboxing champion. When,
and
I'm
physics
pretty
PhD.
Crazy.
What's up with that?
Pretty sure he's been the coach for several Olympics teams.
I'm not surprised. He's the complete
Yeah,
package. He's
Dolph
like,
Lundgren also.
he is
boxed
godlike.
But he-
against
Demigod.
But he really is a villain, though. I mean,
Modern
it's
Thor.
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to make him the leading guy.
You know what?
particularly
No,
now.
stop, dude. Do you know what he's in? Check me. You got to check me in this. But I'm
Red
pretty
Scorpion.
sure he's in fucking No Retreat, No Surrender.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he's in that.
No surrender. Oh, so that's
Okay,
I
anyways, go
would say, other than the seeing Seagal, some of the older guys, Norris. I'd say that Tony Jaa is the one guy I would pay $10 to see.
How much appetite do you think American
If you
audiences have
watch
for martial arts films?
Undisputed 2, 3, and 4.
I haven't seen any of them, so
And you watch
I'll watch
how
That's Michael
Scott
Jai White.
Atkins moves.
I like. Yeah, that's a
will
good point.
shit
Michael Jai
I
White.
won't start crying, will I?
No.
Okay.
But you will think that some of the things he does that he's on wires. I'll tell you right
But Michael Jai White,
now.
I got to hang out with him for a weekend, and
Oh, yeah?
it's because we're about the same size. I mean,
Okay.
he's more cut, but I mean, same
Right.
basic beef. Like when we were in the elevator, it was like me and him, and then everybody
And the
else was
elevator.
standing over there.
Back away.
This is Scott Atkins. in
But I also
Undisputed, too.
I also think he's
This is
around
him.
my age. He's like
That's Scott as
45
Oh,
now.
Yeah, he is.
he looks like a statue.
It's a bronze
Scott
god.
Atkins is
Roams the earth.
he moves.
But can he act?
Spreading his.
Yeah,
I think
What?
he's pretty good.
yeah, he's been in a bunch of.
All right, so
okay.
I'll check it
I
out.
don't know.
So Scott Atkins.
Scott Atkins, Michael Jai White actually got him going from.
What about Michael J.
Michael-
Fox?
Undisputed.
No? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
and
Michael
he-
Jai White is a great kung fu artist, but it's already been 10 years since Black Dynamite or something like that. It's been a while.
Wow.
I mean,
see it.
people don't age like wine,
Thought they aged
especially the big guys, and he
wine.
is a big guy. Right?
Yeah, because
Scott
Undisputed
Atkins
came
is
out in
6'2".
2016.
If you mean it gets better with age,
And
you don't.
All right, so
Yeah,
we're going to
sorry.
come back.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and let's come back and we'll talk about the very best kung fu movies. of all time.
Absolutely.
And then worst too.
Yeah. Next on EGE.
I know kung fu.
All right, best kung fu movie of all time.
Oh, best kung fu movie. It's got to be Enter the Dragon. It's
gotta be Enter the Dragon.
It's Enter the Dragon.
I can't even.
Yeah,
How can
you know what I'm saying?
fight that?
I mean, you ever
I know it's easy, but can't.
you know, it's the
She says
wellspring
no.
from which they all flow.
Enter the Dragon.
Without
is,
Enter the Dragon, you will never be
Without Enter the Dragon, there's no
Right, but
Matrix.
are-
There's
No,
nothing.
dude.
Just like the other movies that we talked about in the past.
You know,
Dude,
they've
without-
been making
That much
kung
weight
fu
to
Wait,
movies
dude.
well
something
before
that-
then, right?
Yeah, but hang on a second, dude.
Shaw Brothers
Yeah,
movies.
but they weren't. Dude, when that came out, then you got the TV show Kung Fu right behind it, which is its own
Like Five Deadly
tragedy.
Venoms and
Those
Oh,
were not.
yeah,
they
you're
were
talking
big
about-
movies, but they weren't big in American cinemas. That movie blew up.
You are
that became a
talking
film.
about
Wow, fucking lit.
regional Chinese kung fu films
Yeah.
when you're talking about Shaw Brothers.
The
and all that
Bollywood of
stuff.
karate.
Okay, and they are absolutely super fun. The 39 Chambers of Shaolin or whatever.
Yeah, great
Monkey
movie.
versus Crane.
Gordon
I mean, there
Liu,
are
Richard
literally
All of them.
There are
Just a
literally
riot.
probably 500
Yeah,
of those
they
films
cranked them out pretty
David Wayne.
fast.
between the late 70s and say late
Late
80s.
60s, maybe.
Yeah. Late 60s.
Some of them, yeah, late
right, late
60s, right.
60s going up to the late 80s. Yeah, you probably have 400, 500 of those type movies.
Which are fun to watch.
And they're
Because-
almost all watchable. They're kind of like westerns.
I own about
You know what they
500
are?
of them.
You know what they are, honestly? They're soap operas.
Yeah, they're-
Almost all of them are soap operas, which they just
With-
love because of those.
with dancing. Why Enter the Dragon is different is it's just a bigger movie. It's beautifully shot.
Yeah,
It's
and
got
they had
and
John
it's
Saxon in it,
a
dude.
great fucking score from Lalo Schifrin. Everyone in that film is fantastic, and of course it has Bruce Lee in his fucking prime, choreographing the whole
Everybody
thing.
pretty good.
It sets the template for all kung fu movies to ever come,
Right.
and it is ultra realistic. It is
Very
the most
glitter. Yeah, it's
probably
gritty,
the
dude.
most realistic kung fu ever.
Because he can do it.
Hey, because
it just-
he can do it, but the plot,
But the choreography,
the plot
too.
makes sense. Okay,
The plot holds together.
it
makes
invents
sense
this tournament thing, which has been used zillions of times.
after this film.
Right after that film,
Okay.
It does have John Saxon in his prime, who was
John
a
Saxon,
great
great martial artist,
It does
too, by
have
the way.
Jim Kelly, who was fantastic martial artist.
Yep, very good.
Highly charismatic, beautiful man when he made that film.
Yeah.
I don't play Dr. Kwan. I don't know who plays, but even the villain, the guy with the tiger.
Yeah, with the
claw.
claws, he would put different. He had like the bear claw, then he had the 4 knives.
Shit,
big
Sammo
knives.
Hung is in that film. Jackie Chan is in that film.
Oh yeah, you know
there,
who
there
else?
are guys.
Chun Li's in that film, isn't it?
Who is it?
Isn't she? No. The big guy from
Bolo, yeah, Bolo,
Bolo
Young.
Young, yeah.
Bolo Young. I tell you right now, Bolo Young is still one of my heroes. He's still alive, still kicking ass.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's great
He's
to
like, he looks great. I mean, he could
Really?
be in a movie right now.
His
It's
son
Dude,
is-
Bolo
I mean,
Young
he's-
is great, dude.
His son is?
His son is.
As a villain in those movies, he was like a boss monster.
He's
unto
one of the
himself,
few
dude.
guys that I would actually get like, oh my God, Bolo Young is
Cool,
here.
man. It's
His
like
son's in incredible shape.
he'd
Really?
be like level 5 boss monster.
But wasn't just that he was
Bolo
big? He
Young.
had a different physique from most of the guys in those
Chinese
films.
Hercules.
But is he
is he?
No, that's what Bolo Young was.
Oh, I didn't
He's
know
in a
that.
movie called
Chinese Hercules?
Really? I'd
Is
want
he-
to
is
watch
he
it.
Is he Chinese?
Yeah.
I mean, he is. Okay, I just didn't know if he was actually Chinese or like Malaysian or something.
Okay, so
Call me with the
let's
noise.
take Enter the Dragon out because I think it is
maybe it's too
it
big.
is
So,
the number
okay,
one. It's like
leaving
Star
that
Wars.
out, right?
is-
It's like
okay, Star Wars.
all right.
Star Wars wins. All
I
right.
see what you're
Enter the Dragon wins. It's just
By a
it's so
long shot.
big. Yeah, for all the reasons right. Stars, music, cinematography. Bruce Lee sucks. He says. All right, we'll do.
Who said that?
Okay. Anyway, they had Bruce Lee in it.
That's like
Right,
you
so-
get like lightning bolts.
Okay,
hitting
so
you.
I've mentioned it many times. The Matrix. I think The Matrix is a fantastic kung fu film.
It's a great kung fu
What
flick.
you say? No.
No, not at all. I
God.
just, it does straddle that line though because kung fu is a part of it and it's a big part of
It's
it.
a huge part of that movie.
but I just,
Like the whole thing. I know kung fu.
Yeah, he
The
does,
idea
but
that
it's-
you could get programmed with
like
knowing
download
fighting
it,
school,
right?
and you get the
Super
impression
YouTube.
that he could actually do it in real life to as much as his body would allow. He would know how to escape a choke. He would know.
technology behind that. I think he'd do
Well,
that.
I think it's
Right,
more
but
the
that's
same.
what that
Look,
movie
it's-
implies,
Okay.
right?
Man versus machine. You know, they're using, even though they're not using physical.
Well, that's a
bodies,
great
they
point.
are
It's
doing
about
that.
a
That's
big
what they're
thing.
doing.
It's about a big subject, man versus machine.
Yeah.
And even man
And
versus
a
man.
great
in the-
story. I mean,
Yeah,
just
and
the
that's
whole.
what they're doing in the machine. They're using this.
Hang on. But you know what though? Matrix is so big it introduced the concept of red pilling.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, red pilling is a
Well, no, I
thing
thought it was
because
I thought it was wrong before.
no,
You sure?
I'm telling you, red pilling comes from the Matrix, dude.
There's a lot of
Take
great
the blue-
lines in that movie.
Right. You take the blue pill, nothing happens. You wake up.
And
you
oddly,
believe
one of the
whatever
worst
you
kung
want to
fu
believe.
films of all time would be Matrix 3. Because it's one of the worst movies of all time, and it has a lot of kung fu in it.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
kinda
that whole
rough, dude.
movie is kung fu. Like 1,000 of those Agent Smiths. I mean, that's probably more of a kung fu movie.
So you want my candidate for worst kung fu movie ever?
Well, give us your best.
My best one.
Besides
my best
Enter the
running?
Dragon.
Okay,
So
besides,
I say
you can't
Matrix.
say Enter the Dragon.
So,
okay,
so I said Matrix. Besides Enter the Dragon.
dude, I'm sorry. I have a soft place in my heart for Best of the Best. I think
It's a
the
very good
first
one.
Best of the Best is a great karate
It's a very
movie,
good
dude.
movie.
It's just
It's the Rocky of
characters,
karate
It is
movies.
great, dude. Everyone in it is good. They look like they're having a good time doing it. Eric Roberts is actually
You know what?
really
Okay.
good in it, dude.
There you go. If that's,
It's got James Earl Jones.
He's as
dude.
the coach. Yeah,
who is
it's
the,
so fun, dude.
He's the Chinese or Japanese actor. He's the he's Chinese American.
You know who's in it?
He's in Best of the Best 3 where
Yeah,
he fights
he's
Arlie
in all of them.
Ermy.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
where
sure
he
he's in all of
fights
them.
Arlie Ermy as the Nazi.
How can you fight
Yeah.
Arlie Ermy?
I know, but he does because he's that guy.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. It's killing me.
He's in
very
that
good.
though. Is the guy? He's got a beard and glasses. He's like the road
Yeah,
manager.
yeah.
He's from Total Recall, dude. He's the one that says to fucking Ironside. He goes,
Philip Ree.
How
Philip Ree,
how do you feel about your wife banging that guy? He's like, what, you saying she liked it? I was like, oh no, I'm sure she hated every minute of it.
You gotta leave the backyard right. Go.
But that's pretty funny, man.
What were you?
Oh, sorry, I don't know what to tell you except
I would say that my favorite movie to watch, because with the miracle of digital video disc, you can now watch a movie several times in a row. It's
Whoa,
amazing.
what?
Have you seen it? Yeah, they like small and it's sweet.
disc.
Yeah, disc.
I don't like getting you back.
It's like a record.
You mean it's not beta tapes?
I lose those.
You didn't stream it directly into your mind.
No, I didn't. Why? You can do that now.
I'm doing it now. I'm watching a movie.
I
You're
would
doing
say that
everything
Bloodsport
else.
with Van Damme is actually probably my favorite fun.
it's-
Like watch
it
on
is
a
fun,
Saturday
yeah. It
afternoon
is
movie.
fun.
The Kung Fu in that movie is great.
Yeah.
The cinematography is great.
It's just-
you got
it's
to fight
fun.
just to survive.
I mean, Kumite. Dude, it's just interesting that fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme's entire career is the
It's
fact
based
that
on
he
that
can-
film.
He can rapidly
Not this
do.
one.
He can rapidly
This
do
one.
the splits. That's in who's No Retreat, No Surrender, dude. That's actually who's in it. I'm sorry. Jean-Claude Van Damme is in No Retreat, No Surrender. That was when he first displayed the fact that he can flex his legs out.
Doesn't he get killed by the propeller or the?
In Indiana
in the
Jones?
water?
No, that's a different
Then
film.
there's a chase sequence where Academy Award winner Forrest Whitaker and some other guy
That's
chases
right.
him.
His CIA, they were like FBI guys,
yeah.
something like that, right?
They're trying
And
to
he
get
was
Frank
losing 'em.
Dukes back into the army because he was too valuable
He was
to
AWOL,
lose.
right.
So they chase him all through Hong Kong, which is a very fun cinematic.
It's very
sequence.
lighthearted. He
And-
runs over a junk. He like
Yeah.
goes,
He
goes
then he leaves him
circles around
right,
him.
and they're like,
Yeah, like gets on a
whoa,
bu- and there's a
bubbling
song
cup.
that's just the epitome of '80s. Like you can do
Yeah,
it. So-
like
it could have been in heavy metal. You know, I
you
just-
hear the heavy sax.
yeah, it's just a fun. The good guys win, the bad guys. And it has,
And, but it's not mean
wait,
to him. They're just kind of
wait,
bumbling.
and
right.
it has Bolo Young, right?
Right.
As the fucking main villain, and he is great in that.
Remember the
fucking
one
movie.
guy? Who cares if Bruce Lee is his Shidoshi? If he is his Shidoshi, then he must know that they're Mac. Right? And he hits the stack of bricks
Not
and
the
breaks
top
the bottom
brick.
one.
Bottom
Right.
brick.
Not this brick. This brick. Right? and he fucking nails
So
it.
I don't think that's better than The Matrix or Enter the Dragon, but
No.
it is a very fun film to watch.
Because the best
All
part play better video games. When he plays the video game in the
I-
Oh, that's right.
They
He's
can
playing
play
Karate Champ, dude.
Karate Champ, yeah.
Champ from Taito. Yeah, with the
Yeah.
2 sticks. It's a fun game.
I have to say that you can see that a guy like Quentin Tarantino really truly loves those 70s Shaw Brother.
Right.
I mean, I'm fond of them in as much as I'm fond of an old Randolph Scott Western, but I still
Randolph
like
Scott.
But I still like John Wayne Westerns better. I mean, it's just,
I understand what
you know
you're
what I
saying.
mean?
Yeah,
it's
it's just that-
it's just they're just
hey.
not quite as good at kung fu
Hey,
movies
listen,
as
you know
the
what's-
bigger
you know what's
budget
fucked up?
movies.
You know what's fucked up? We are ignoring a fucking huge elephant in the room.
Well, okay, well, let's get to it.
Big Trouble in Little China, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, we kind of
Little
missed that,
chat.
man.
No, because they do
Well-
almost no kung fu in that
Carter.
movie.
I don't know,
gunfights,
bro.
it's knife
no,
fights.
yeah, you are wrong. That movie is just about damn near all kung. I mean, there's so much karate, it's ridiculous. Oh yeah, dude.
Well, it's
There's
just
Kung Fu royalty in it too. It's got Carter Wong.
it's got Carter
that
Wong in
is-
it. Right.
The guy
Yeah,
gets big.
that guy's-
That
You know who
guy
else is
Carter
in it?
Wong.
he's very
He's
good.
Kung Fu
Yeah.
royalty.
He should be. He's fantastic kung
Cat's
fu
name?
artist.
You know who else is in it? Al
Booger?
Leong.
Yep.
I was gonna
Al Leong, dude. Fucking, they got a Cole following off of that for that fucking Fu
Yeah,
Manchu, dude.
can you be a kung fu movie without Al Leong?
Well, that's an interesting
See, that's another
question,
guy I'd like
isn't
to
it?
have in a movie. Just
Al
for shits and
Leong's
giggles.
great, man.
Last
Yeah.
time I saw him was in that Matthew Broderick
would be lifted.
Which one?
Godzilla movie. He's the pilot.
You
He's-
shitting me? That's like 1996.
That's the last movie
Oh,
I saw
wow.
him in, man.
Well, hopefully he's doing well. We'll have to look him up. So
Yeah, if you're out there, Al, we love you.
Al Young, you're great.
Bolo Young,
Fantastic.
we love
He's in
you.
Die Hard. Yeah, that's right. One of the
Yep.
terrorists. in Die Hard.
Okay, so
Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry.
okay.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. That's a huge.
I don't love that
martial-
movie as much as other people do. I just,
Really? Not a big fan. I love it. I have fun with it. I think it's great. Just because, how many movies can you watch where Kurt Russell does John Wayne?
Well,
I mean, that's
he
the whole
doesn't
movie
do
is.
John Wayne.
It's
John
It's an
Wayne is not
impression.
as-
The whole movie.
Here's
is
why.
doing John Wayne.
Because I wanted him to be Snake Plissken, not a bumbling truck driver who couldn't even fucking turn a safety off a gun. And
Yeah,
he had a lot of great one-liners. I just think he played it too jokey. And I think that the Asian lead in that film, the Asian protagonist, his
Yeah.
buddy, he's in Prince of Darkness.
You mean? Oh,
Same guy.
Yeah, his friend. Thank you, Jack. That guy. Right.
Yeah, that whoever that guy's name is. I just don't think he's a very good actor.
Dennis Wong.
He's
No,
just-
Dennis Dunn. Dennis Dunn
Dennis
is that
Dunn.
guy's name. He actually went on to have a huge career after that.
Yeah, but he's not.
Everyone-
But Dennis Dunn.
He is not a very compelling actor in that role for me. I just,
don't think so? I thought he
would
played
not.
a pretty good
I
part.
wanted somebody a lot studlier than that, a whole lot studlier.
I think we're gonna have to live in a world of disagreement. On that
Okay,
one.
but they could have had Jackie Chan was around the same age. And Jackie Chan would have been about a million times better than Dennis
Yeah,
Dunn
but wait
in
a
that
minute. You
movie.
gotta remember though, dude. It's the relationship with John Carpenter, man.
Carpenter makes everything better,
But
but
everybody who's in
wait,
fucking Big
just
Trouble
see what
is
I
in
just
Prince
said.
of Darkness.
he said, put Jackie Chan in a John Carpenter film. It makes Little Trouble a full star better. It just
Really?
does.
I don't know
Wow.
if you can make it any. Big
'Cause
Trouble.
for one
I
thing-
like Jackie Chan. I think he's great.
His kung fu is a million times better than Dennis fucking Dunn's.
You know, Jackie Chan is in fucking Cannonball Run.
Cannonball,
Yeah.
cannonball. It's
Cannonball
not
Run.
what you
He's
do,
a
it's how you
side
do it.
Cannonball Run, the underrated martial arts film.
Cannonball, cannonball.
There is a fight
Cannonball
sequence
Run.
featuring Roger Moore.
Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball,
You
run.
got style. Ball.
Cannonball,
They hear that
cannonball.
thing in the background.
You know, that was actually Roger Moore's one of his claims to fame in those early Bond movies, and what helped kind of help him replace Sean Connery is Roger Moore was actually pretty damn good at strip mall kung fu. He had been
Yeah.
I think he was a brown belt or something like that.
The Jim Kirk School of Kung
Yeah,
Fu.
he at least knew the moves and wasn't a
Yeah, I mean, you don't physically believe he can't do it. I mean, this.
no, but he had
plays
done
well.
it
The
before.
physicality's there. I mean,
He didn't learn how to do kung fu on the set.
Wasn't he in the military?
Did no. Roger Moore, I can't.
I think he was,
But
dude.
those
Anyways,
are if
all right.
those early Roger Moore films are a lot more violent than you might remember them being. He kills the shit out of a lot of people in there. I mean, really, like in a way that
But
Connery.
his sweet smile, you make it seems.
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
Yeah,
Connery
he's a
was
beautiful
there wasn't that
No, it's like-
violence in the Connery films. I mean, there was some, but it was more Connery being suave as
Well,
shit.
yeah, you believe that Sean Connery would beat the shit out of you, but not because he'd been trained by any master.
Just because
he
he's Sean Connery.
Just because he's Sean fucking Connery.
He uses his power.
That's right. So,
Slaps you
all right,
like a
so I say best. We agree on Enter the Dragon.
Yep, Enter the Dragon,
I
best.
say the second best is probably The Matrix, just because it's
Just
the
because of what
Matrix
it is,
and
very
it's
modern
such a
age.
big.
And I'm a
and the
huge-
third, like, and the funnest movie for me is the Van Damme.
I was a huge dog for Best of the Best. I just think it's a great film. So if you get
And,
a
and
chance,
you're
check
like,
it out.
oh, what's your worst though?
Oh, the worst karate movie ever? You know, and it's unfair.
I already claimed Matrix 3.
It's unfair. But, I mean, how do you put this? Billy Jack. With Charles Lawton. Now, there's schools of
Shit,
thought
they
on
made
that.
like 2 more of those, Billy. I think they
A ton of
remade
them,
Billy
dude.
Jack, didn't they?
They made a ton of them. And it's just kind of like,
As a
you know what I mean,
period
when
piece-
you're thinking about the time, at the time you'd be like, wow, this is badass. Now you look at it and you're like,
Oh, no,
that's
it's terribly
fucking ridiculous,
But
dude.
that's part of the
karate
joy.
is okay,
the
but
part
not
of the
that
joy
good,
of Billy
yeah.
Jack is just how ridiculous it is.
And just the whole story and the concept. I mean,
It's sort of like Carnival of Souls in a way, in that it's made on location with all non-actors, which
Right.
Carnival of Souls was, and so you get this slice of time in America
where that could
that
happen.
is very pure because it's not a studio film at
No,
all.
he financed every one of them,
He's
apparently.
from Carnival
Yeah.
of Souls, so it don't have a chance in hell.
You don't like Carnival of Souls?
It's so boring.
No, I mean,
I
yeah,
think you're
it
crazy.
is what it
Black and
is.
white, boring.
Oh, you're not an anti-black and white guy, are you?
You got to look at that movie.
Don't be a
because-
Puritan.
No, because in Waxworks Part 2, the sequence with
Waxworks too.
Waxworks 2, the
You-
sequence with Evil Dead, what's we'll call it?
Ted Raimi?
With his ribs exposed, or throwing the vinegar and salt on him. That's in black and white, and it's
Like
funny
chips.
as shit.
Damn, that sounds good. Salt and vinegar.
Billy Jack, that's a good one. That's a good.
Yeah,
That's a good.
nice
pretty bad.
pickup.
But that shows you again how big kung fu was in the
Yeah,
70s.
that you could actually get away with making that shit.
Well, just the idea of the American Indians practiced kung fu. Inner city black men practiced kung
It
fu.
just became it was a cultural phenomenon.
a guy
It
like
sort of-
Chuck Norris, who
it
was
swept
very
the country.
white bread, very kind of
Yeah, I
vanilla
mean,
guy,
he was
did
actually, but
kung
he was
fu.
he was a sectional champion, I believe.
Oh, he was
yeah,
he was legit
uh,
champion.
yeah.
Okay, so it is interesting. Just wrap up. I don't know. Go back to kung fu for a second. How many good kung fu movies there are? Like you guys said, that I should see
Right.
Equilibrium. I've never seen it. You guys
Christian
said
Bale.
it got
Yeah.
Christian Bale. That and American Psycho got him Batman.
Geometric Kung Fu. That's
Right.
correct. Yeah, he was big. You know, he's. Well, hang on a minute. I'll talk about that. 'Cause he's a slide into your bit about what you're going to do next, but I won't mention it now. But yeah, a connection that we're going to make in just a
Okay.
couple seconds.
So I mean, you say you have thousands of kung fu films.
Thousands.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it is a huge.
from the
genre,
late
and
50s.
I'm sure you guys, anyone ever sees these videos, going, "The Matrix, how the hell's that number 2?" Well, I would say The Matrix is number 2 because it's culturally vastly important.
Right. I mean, what are you number
Gi-
2 to? Return or Enter the Dragon.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
okay.
right. So
That's a
I mean,
pretty
for
good
me,
number 2.
If you're going to be, it can't just be about it's a good movie. And of course, both Enter the Dragon and The Matrix are good movies.
No, but it's
it's got to punch
significant.
through the noise.
Yeah.
And when you have a genre that's got 7,000 titles, it's like Bollywood. I'm sure
Right.
there's
How
a
you gonna
few
make a really good
5-star
one?
Bollywood films, but how the fuck am I ever going to find them? There's a million of those things.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a
so
lot of
it is.
big industry.
It is it kind of makes you think as an independent filmmaker. Be careful about making a kung
Just
fu
because,
movie
I mean,
because
there's lots of them, and what are you competing against? And
Yeah.
how solid is that genre now? It's hard to say. I mean, we talked about,
it's solid for a certain subsect, the way that
It's a
horror
niche market,
But I
dude.
think horror
Horror's
is
more broad,
Is it
though.
broad because in part
Yeah.
because broads. See what I did there?
nice.
Will watch horror films more
Yes, they will.
more probably than they would watch a kung fu film.
I
Like
think
Amber,
so, yeah. I mean,
who's
that's
as-
an interesting question. Who
as-
digs
as,
horror flicks more,
kinky
guys
for
or
movies
girls?
as you get. It took her a long
Yeah.
time to get into kung fu films.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Okay.
Kung Fu is hardcore fan too.
Yeah.
They will not, they're diametrically opposed to.
They will not
to
tolerate
going
failure.
to something else. You know?
Oh, do you think so?
Oh yeah, they're hard. Hardcore fans are hardcore fans.
They have great discipline.
It just is what it is. You have
You
the
lack
Bruce Lee
discipline.
guys. You have the Bruce Lee guys, and they will say, "Oh fuck, fuck this guy." Plain and simple. They will not.
Well, that's stupid. That's crazy.
There are
Every generation's got to have its stars.
Well, it just is what it is. They're
You can't-
Like Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon.
awesome.
To the beat of the beat of the
movie is
muffin
awesome.
day.
Bruce Leroy,
What?
baby.
I'm sorry, Last Dragon.
Show
Leroy.
enough.
Whoa.
Wait,
Bow down, kiss my Converse.
they call me Bruce.
That's true. That's a bit.
You're
Yeah,
number
they call me
one.
Bruce. I
Number
forgot
one.
about that. That was funny, right?
Yeah.
But it shows
about
you
that, yeah.
how even in the tight restraints that you kind of put on it, it's got to have kung fu, it's got to be oriental, but all the kind of
Right.
things. It's amazing how much creativity has come out of that genre and how many movies are there. And it's,
And it's still got a dedicated fan base.
what I'm saying is that I
Okay.
think there could be another big kung fu film, but it's going to take something special. It's kind of like rolling the dice.
And the resurgence, we would also portend a resurgence in the entire genre. The
What
entire
goes around
genre.
comes around.
Right,
I
I'm
got
gonna
one
be a
more
slew of
other.
kung fu
Under
flicks.
Siege 2 is such a fun movie. Come on, man.
You
can't-
do have a, yeah, I mean, it's,
Come on, for just raw rewatchability. Under Siege 2 is
marginally kung fu, just because it has Steven
because Scott
Seagal.
Scow. He has a great fight with Stilgar, Everett McGill.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, who is a great villain in that. It's got
Yeah.
Eric Bogosian eating more sets than Shatner.
Just crazy.
Anyway, okay.
Okay,
so-
I got you.
All right.
Anyways,
From
all
the
right.
vault. We're going to do like a 1 minute from the vault.
Yep.
Right now,
And then-
just go right to it.
Okay, so from the vault this week, what did I watch? I watched The Void.
Quicker than that. Quicker than that.
The Void.
Just watch The Void.
The Void.
Where did we watch The Void at?
The Void. The Void is on Netflix, man. Come out in 2016, I think.
Okay.
It tries really hard. It really does. It's
a Netflix
basically
series, or?
no, just one. It's a one-off movie
Okay.
about these people who get trapped at a hospital. There's a cop. There's his estranged wife from whom they lost a child between them. A couple of hospital workers and these two crazy dudes who come to the hospital. And there's some shit going down, and it all goes absolutely wacky wild on you. Pretty gory. The building is surrounded by fucking hooded figures, and the place is left in total darkness. You think it's the only place on earth that's left.
It's a new movie.
Yeah, 2016.
Okay.
Imaginative.
You saw it?
Yeah,
Good.
imaginative.
Well, maybe I'll
really
watch
good
that tonight.
effects. Boy, you just feel like they just ran out of steam. Like they were trying. They really tried hard. They wanted to make it
Swung
really
big.
wild, freaky, and they almost got there. It just falls a little short. But you know what? A diggable watch. The Void. Interesting take. Pretty good characters. Great effects. I give it a qualified.
Gooey tentacles.
I give it a qualified 3 stars.
All right, I'll give
It's
it
decent.
I guess I'll cheat and just say I'll say to rewatch both the Indiana Jones and the Jurassic Park series because they are interesting in how the first films of those series are so powerful. It's such 5-star, amazing Hollywood films, and how the others are sometimes they're good, sometimes they're awful. I mean, it's weird how even though Spielberg had a big part of all of them, including directed some of them, how bad the bad ones are. That's right. Like
they just
Indiana
can't
Jones
get there.
4 is a
Abysmal.
Ed Wood robot monster bad, fucking horrifically bad
Yeah.
film.
How to survive a nuclear blast.
Jurassic Park 2 is horrifically, and yet he's still the same guy who made Indiana Jones 1 and 2. He's still the same guy who made
shit on his
Jurassic
list,
Park.
yeah.
And so I would say, watch those films on as big a TV as you can. Remember that those were the big hit movies of the summer of that year, and do they stand the test of time?
Answer for yourself. Thank
All
you
right.
very much for watching.
All right, hey guys, thanks for watching. We'll be doing a comic book show soon. This is us going to
Yep.
kind of change things up. We are going to introduce the YouTube to Living Dead World, our zombie flick,
excellent.
which is
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
good.
Very good.
And as always, like, subscribe, and see you later.
Jackie Chan is in fucking Cannonball Run.
Cannonball,
Yep.
cannonball. It's not
Cannonball
what
Run.
you
He's
do,
a
it's how you
side
do it.
Cannonball Run, the underrated martial arts film.
Cannonball, cannonball.
There is a fight
Cannonball
sequence
Run.
featuring Roger Moore.
Cannonball, 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 run.
You got style. Ball.
Cannonball, cannonball.
And after you say
All right. Whoa. All right, take that thing out of here. Scram. I love you. Don't ever come back.
you're great.